Good evening. I would like to call order to the board meeting. If you would do so, please join me in a moment of silence. And let's please remember Mr. Charles Butler, the principal here at Simmons, who lost his wife yesterday. So let's please remember him. Thank you. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge, which will be followed by Grace Note, which is Hoover High School's Girls Ensemble that will lead us in the national anthem. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you so much. Grace Note. Ms. Netterville, will you please call roll to establish a quorum? Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Thank you. Board, you have before you the agenda for the board meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? The agenda is approved. It is now time for recognitions. Ms. Harris Turner.
Thank you, President Tosny. Good evening to you, the Board of Education, and Dr. Fowler. We have some exciting recognitions tonight, and we're going to start with two proclamations first. National Teacher Appreciation Week was last week. It was a time to celebrate our teachers and give all due respect and credit to the teaching profession, especially after the dedication shown during the COVID-19 pandemic. Teachers work year-round to ensure that students are ready, equipped, and prepared for the next phases in their lives. So we want to thank all of our teachers and support staff. If there are any here tonight, please stand and let's give them a hand. Anyone? Thank you. Thank you so much. And then next, National School Nurse Day is tomorrow, the 11th, and it is our pleasure to celebrate our school nurses. They have been on the front line during the COVID-19 pandemic and face many challenges every day on the job. The pandemic has emphasized the essential role our school nurses play in our students' health and academic success. And here today to accept the proclamation is our lead nurse, Ms. Julie Kent, and some of our Hoover City Schools nurses from across the district. Come on up. There were many who wanted to come, I know, but there are a lot of activities tonight, so only a handful would show up, but we appreciate you ladies who did show up. And this is the proclamation, and I want you to use it. Thank you so much. Thank you, nurses. Give them
Ms. Harris Turner, before you go further, I want to say a very special thank you to our school nurses and especially Ms. Nurse Kent for all your help and support. And I've said this, and I say this with the most sincerity. At some point in time, there will be a statue erected to remember COVID. And I think it would be a gross injustice if that statue didn't have a nurse on it. Our nurses have done the hardest work, have seen all the sick, and have cared for them. And there's no way that we can properly say thank you, but we hope that when we see you, we can at least say a simple thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Dr. Fowler. And our first recognition tonight is for Hoover High School's choir. The choir has had an outstanding school year, which includes Paradigm and an ensemble, a part of the Hoover High School choir, placing second in the middle size division at the Capital City Classic in Montgomery and winning the Best Show Design. Choir Director John Kincaid, please come up and with some of your choir members and accept your certificate, and some of his choir members will talk about some of the programs of the Hoover Choir. Come on up.
Hi, thank you for the time and the recognition of all the work that our students do. I'd like to recognize Miss Amanda Slate, the co-teacher with the Hoover Choir Department. I am John Kincaid, and I'm going to turn it over to Mina Orso, our choir president. They're going to speak a little bit.
Hello. So at Hoover Choir, we have 8 choirs altogether. 4 of them are not auditioned, and then the other 4 are auditioned. And thankfully, we have some representatives here to talk about this. But this year, all of the ensembles went to a stage performance assessment, and we all placed with superior ratings, which is kind of cool for us. And so I am talking about our chamber choir and our senior choir. So the senior choir is a choir that's one of the 4 non-auditioned. And one of my favorite things about them is that we get to just be a family together because we're all the same age. And we get to just grow in our family, and we get to learn alongside each other, which is very cool. And then our chamber choir is a audition group with 10th through 12th graders, And we all just get to learn really hard music, and Mr. Kincaid takes time out of his Monday to come help us just grow in our music theory and our sight reading and just really learn how to read music. So, thank y'all.
Hi, my name is Carson Church. I'm a member of 10 Bucks Board. I'm in this group with 9 other guys, and we get to come together every Monday night and build real friendships with each other. And we get to always rehearse and learn this music. And I know all 10 of us each always look forward to rehearsing Monday nights and getting to spend this time together. And I know coming out of every performance, we always feel like the work we put in has truly paid off. And one specifically for me was at Hoover's Beauty Walk. 10 Bucks was allowed to perform there, and it was just such a great atmosphere to perform. And the crowd was so enthusiastic and had appreciation towards our performance. And it was a really great experience.
Hello, my name is Alexandria Stone, and I'd like to just speak briefly about Grace Note. So as in 10 Bucks, we also are a really tight-knit group. But Grace Note is such an amazing group because of not only our love for music, but our understanding and our value of hard work. As an athlete, I know that my achievement is shown through the medals that I win based on how good I do in the event. But Grace Note is more collectively how we feel about a performance and how the audience feels. And we just understand that to be very important to us. And we just want y'all to know how much we love music, and our group is very important to us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Annabelle Morrison, and I'm the Paradigm president. So Paradigm is our show choir. We rehearse last period every single day, and we have occasional weekend retreats during the first semester to prepare for our competition season, which starts 3rd 9 weeks. This year, we went about 6 weekends in a row, just to give you an idea. Paradigm is such a fantastic choir to be a part of. I'm so thankful that it has taught me to grow not only as a musician, but also as a person. We are such a tight-knit group, and I'm forever thankful. This year, at our Capital City competition in Montgomery, we placed 2nd. However, we have learned not only to compete, but also how to function as a family. So thank you for recognizing this group today for all of their hard work and rewarding results that have come with it. All of these audition ensembles that we've talked about today are made up of students that are in class choirs. The skills that we learn in class transfer over to these audition ensembles to help us function as better musicians and to learn things quicker. So again, thank you so much for recognizing our program.
Thank you so much, and as always, if you all can wait until the end of recognitions to leave, so I can get your pictures. Thank you. Okay, so next up, a Hoover City Schools teacher was selected for what's hailed as the Oscars of teaching, and that's the National Milken Educator Award. Rocky Ridge Elementary School teacher Caitlin McPeak was the recipient of that award, and we want to have her come up along with Dr. Uswate, who is a 2009 recipient of the Milken Educator Award. And if you watch the news around the time, a couple months ago, you know Caitlin McPeak. It was a big deal. The news was there, big surprise. She got a $25,000 check, all of that. You remember her. So come on up and get your certificate, please. Congratulations.
It is indeed such a pleasure and an honor to take just a few minutes to talk about this incredible woman standing next to me. 5 years ago, I made one of the best decisions I've ever made as a principal, and that was hiring Caitlin McPeak. Even then, she stood out amongst her competitors in terms of getting that job. She was enthusiastic. She clearly knew her curriculum and instructional strategies. But more than anything, what I grew to love about Caitlin is how much she inspired us at school to do even better, to reach for more, such as all the time she did innovative things in her classroom, the crazy dress-ups and room decorations to really engage kids and get them excited about learning. So much so that so many other teachers wanted to do these room transformations. They had a desire for bringing in more people from the community. One of the cool things that Caitlin did is even something called the Engineering Academy, not quite at the same level as Hoover High or Spain Park, but she brought in parents that were engineers and had kids working on fourth grade standards, but made it so exciting and it just came alive. In fact, there was one student who was standing in line waiting to go into the theater to participate that day, and she was standing there, actually not standing there, she was jumping like this. She said, I'm so excited about today, we get to learn about engineering. And when you see kids, girls especially, who are excited about learning like that, you know it did not just happen. It's because of great teachers like Caitlin. And I will say this, if you don't know anything about the Milken Award, it is, as was said with the Oscars, it is representative of the top 0.01% of teachers in the entire country. So I'm excited to join Caitlin in a few weeks in California, where she will receive further accolades at this national level and get to meet other people from across the country who've received this award as well. So congratulations to my dear friend. Would you like to say something?
I'm just completely still in awe of this award. That day we thought we were getting a STEM recognition, and then all of a sudden I was 8 months pregnant walking down a flight of stairs. So it was a surprise, to say the least. And just thankful for the opportunity to represent education and represent our teachers. I've just been so thankful to work for Hoover City Schools and under Dr. Swate's leadership. Just learned so much from Hoover City Schools in general, but also all the teachers I've gotten to work alongside along the years. So I'm very thankful for this award and to see where it can take my career, but also how I can further help other educators along the way. Thank you.
Okay, did Casey Kane make it in this break there? Right in front of me. Okay, come on up. The Hoover City Schools Mental Health Services staff, the recognition is next, and they did a lot of hard work organizing a stress-less week for students at Spain Park High School last month.
And the students came to learn about different ways to cope with stress and better ways to manage their stress levels. And there were similar activities at the middle schools that also took place related to being stressless. And it is an appropriate time to talk about these kind of activities because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and there's a specific focus on the importance of mental wellness. So thank you, ladies, for your hard work in putting together Stress Less Week activities. Casey Kane, the mental health counselor for Spain Park, and Ms. Ainsley Prather, the New Beginnings counselor. So thank you both. Okay. Next up, we want to recognize two future leaders of our nation's military who were awarded military academy appointments. Hoover High School senior Shinonye Mbanago. Is that close enough? Did she make it? Was admitted to the United States Air Force Academy, and Hoover High School senior Will Stallworth to the United States Naval Academy. And congratulations to you both. And Colonel Moulton, Air Force JROTC instructor for Hoover High School, will say a few words.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to recognize this significant accomplishment on the part of our high school seniors. Shinoni Mbanago and Will Stallworth have earned appointments to the United States Air Force Academy and the United States Naval Academy, respectively. Now, the achievement is notable for several reasons. First of all, I could go on about their accomplishments, but perhaps it's better to let you know just how competitive the process was they went through to receive an appointment. To earn an appointment to any one of the military academies is noteworthy because the selection process is the most arduous one in this country. For this year, over 41,000 qualified students, every one a varsity athlete, a student government representative, a leader in their church, competed for just over 4,000 appointments. That's a less than 10% selection rate among the most highly qualified students in the country. And there's a very good reason why the selection rate is so daunting. Once they arrive in Colorado Springs or Annapolis, they will face a fast-paced and unyielding environment that combines Ivy League quality education with college-level athletic competition across the board and military discipline and training on a daily basis. And why are the academies so challenging? It's critical that those who are selected represent the very best this nation has to offer because the future leadership of our military will be placed in their care. They will assume responsibility for answering the complex challenges that the United States will face across the globe. And you don't have to spend a lot of time reviewing the news to understand what I'm talking about. We need our very best to serve, and whether Chinonye and Will ultimately find their place as an F-22 fighter wing commander, a carrier battle group commander, a research laboratory commander, or, heaven forbid, have to walk the halls of the Pentagon, the foundation will be set over the next 4 years. They are committed to choosing, if Robert Frost would permit me to borrow from his poem, the path less traveled. And I look forward to seeing both of them excel and thrive over the next 4 years as they prepare to take their place as future leaders in this nation's military. Chinonye and Will, congratulations and well done.
Colonel, are there parents here?
I believe I.
If you please stay, please stay.
Hoover High School received the 2021 Class School of Distinction Award for its Peer Helpers program. And that award recognizes school programs that serve as outstanding educational models for other schools in Alabama. Hoover High's peer helpers are servants in the schools, theater schools, and community, and they create school-wide campaigns to educate, motivate, and impact the school. And accepting the certificate tonight for Hoover High School are teachers Maggie Gilliland and Susan Norris. And I think Dr. Fowler, did I
recognition program tomorrow related to this? It was yesterday. It was yesterday. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much. Give them another.
Okay, next up, Miss Terry Coleman. Come on up. She's a counselor at Trace Crossings Elementary School. Coleman was selected as the 2022 Youth Serve Education Partner of the Year, in part for her role as sponsor of the Trace Crossings Student Volunteer Service Club called the Bucks Club, BUC. Buck stands for Believe, Unite, and Contribute. And the students partner with Youth Serve to do various community service projects. And we want to thank Ms. Coleman. Congratulate Ms. Coleman. And that is in part why you were selected for this award, because of your involvement with the Bucks Club. So congratulations to you for being the Education Partner of the Year, for your commitment to teaching students about service and the importance of contributing to their community. Thank you. And then finally tonight is the RF Bumpus Middle School's Leadership Lecture Series. And these lectures are educational experiences for student leaders that enhance their leadership skills. And Justin Jones, one of the assistant principals at Bumpus Middle School, you'll come up and receive your certificate and tell us a little bit about the Leadership Lecture Series. His daughter is his assistant.
All right, hello everyone. So at Bumpus, 3 years ago, we saw a void with the need for students to have extra opportunities to learn leadership skills. So I decided to start the Leadership Development Initiative. We started with a group of 6th graders. We're now 8th graders. One of our 8th graders, Jameson Coleman, he is a standout leader within the group. That's why he's here today. He is a standout leader, and he's been with us since the 6th grade. I also have my other boss here. This is my daughter, Charlie. She's at Trace right now, just in case you didn't. But I did want to highlight some of the people who came for the lecture series. The lecture series was we asked for a group of leaders from the community to come by and just teach the students information that would help them in their journey as growing leaders. So we have some people who are Hoover employees. You see Ms. Carrie Eford, who's currently at Bumpus Middle School, Dr. Lamar, Ms. Akila Malpass, Ms. Coleman. She came over and spoke to all of our students. And our students, after hearing from the speakers, they decided to participate in some in-school service projects. They did a lot for Teacher Appreciation Week. They also decided to help with our self-contained classroom, just to ensure that those students were able to participate with, the general activities that go on throughout the day. And we just hope that the program continues to grow and that our 8th graders, they go on to high school and just continue those leadership skills and, help out the school with all of those good skills that they learned throughout these experiences. So thank you.
That concludes our recognitions, and I'll turn things over to you, President Tosley, for another special recognition.
Thank you. I have a couple, one recognition, but I also wanted to recognize Mr. Earl Cooper, who is here tonight, who was on the Board of Education for 10 years, and he was actually the president when I was a rookie, and he was something. He was something else. So I'm so glad you're here, and his wife Kay and son Christian. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. So Mr. Craig Kelly on our board brought this idea to all of us for us to start having a President's Award. Just someone in the district to recognize each month that we think goes above and beyond, and we just wanted to start doing that, which is wonderful. So tonight, we as a board have decided that the very first President's Award would go to Brian Phillips. Thank you, sir. Would you like to say any words?
No,
You don't have to say that.
Okay, Craig's gonna say something.
You're gonna have to explain these acronyms, because I'm
still getting busier with school. Say a little bit about Brian. Obviously, head of our technology here in the district, we cannot do without him. But just like Terry and many of the others you've seen tonight, goes on and above. I don't know how they get the time to do what they do. I'll mention a few things that I pulled up. ISTE Making It Happen Award winner, Google Think Tank. This is a national, probably world scale type interaction with people that brings things back to us here in the district. Advisory Board, Google EDU. Again, this is worldwide. This is worldwide things for us. HMH Customer Advisory Boards, Certified Educational Technology Leader of COSN. I'll speak on ALET just a second. School Superintendents of Alabama Superintendents Academy and a member of CLASS, which is in Montgomery head office. The ALET, Alabama Leaders in Educational Technology. This is really what stood out with me. All this other awards you get for doing your job, but still you do it so well, they recognize it. The ALET president, it's huge. You all know about advocacy in the legislature. Brian is the president of ALET right now. He has the ears of the legislature in Montgomery, the committees, and please explain a little bit more. We have technology funds statewide now because of the efforts of Brian and some of his colleagues. So this is something that takes extra hours, a trip to Montgomery, thought and study. So we just want to say thank you. So
thank you.
Please explain.
I won't bore you, but the push that we recently had in the past couple of years was to create, we're lucky in Hoover, I have a team of about 25 other school systems in the state, have one person doing what our team of 25 does. So the push the past couple of years was to get funding so every school system in the state could at least have 2 people. So they pushed that through this year. It's one of the first times that an organization like ours has actually been written into the bill and into the budget. So it was a big deal. I couldn't say more about working here. I've been here almost 20 years now. I have an unbelievable team that help me every day and do everything that I don't know to do. So I'm really thankful for them. People in the office and central office, I enjoy going to work every day. And it's easy to do those extra hours because you see other people doing those things. So thank you all for that. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay, finished with recognitions, and now we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Dr. Fowler?
And we'll give those that are having their picture made an opportunity to go with Ms. Harris Turner.
Oh, yes. I'm for everyone. Thanks.
And they're missing the best part of the whole meeting.
This is the exciting part.
Thank you, Ms. Tosny, and thank you, board. The first items for your consideration are the items that appear on your consent agenda. There are 2 items there this evening. The first is a set of minutes, which is the regular board meeting that occurred April 12th, 2022, and the textbook adoptions for 22-23. You may remember at our last board meeting in April, Dr. Chris Robbins and team explained the textbook adoptions. You've had time to look that over, and if that has created any questions in your mind, we're very fortunate this evening that Dr. Dodson and that Whitney Cook are here, and they will be able to answer any questions that you might have regarding this textbook adoption. At this time, board, I do recommend approval of the 2 items on the consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any questions from the board? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosny, and thank you, board members. The next item for your consideration are personnel action items. You will find those on your tab. At this time, I do recommend approval of the personnel action items that are before you. Our personnel director, Mrs. Christy Williams, is here and will be able to answer any question that you might have. And also accompanying her from personnel also is Dr. Pate. I do recommend approval of the personnel action items.
Do I have a motion to approve the personnel action items as recommended by the superintendent?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Personnel action items are approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tyson, and thank you, board. There is a item or so that I would like to call to your attention later on in the meeting regarding personnel actions. The next items for your consideration are business action items. At this time, I will ask our CSFO, Ms. Michelle McKay, to come forward and present those to you.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Fowler. Tonight, I would like to share with you our April 2022 payroll expenditures totaled $8,898,242.89. Our disbursements for March 2022, $3,687,536.33. Including in your packet is the summary and general purpose financial statements for the month ended March 31, 2022. For FY22, 72% of budget revenue has been received. Remember, Hoover City Schools receives the majority of ad valorem tax receipts October through March, and as we move into spring and summer, those tax receipts begin to decline. The results of operations represent 6 months of activity. Accordingly, we would anticipate having spent approximately 50% of the budget for recurring expenditures. At this time, general fund expenditures are 47% of the budget. For the 6 months of activity, the current month's reserve is 11.39. This too will decrease as our ad valorem tax collections decline the remainder of the year. In March, we made payments for renovations to the historic Bluff Park Community Center and purchased devices for our middle school refresh. Special revenue fund expenditures for 6 months of activity were $13.8 million or 45.8% of the budget.
And if you would, please stay, Ms. McKay. Board, at this time, I do recommend approval of the business action items that Mrs. McKay just went over with you.
Do I have a motion to approve the business action items as recommended by Dr. Fowler? Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Business actions are approved.
Thank you, board. Thank you, Ms. Tosney. Ms. McKay, the next item for your consideration is the 2022 budget amendment. This budget amendment was explained in detail during our work session, but Ms. McKay, you may want to recap that if you would, please.
Thank you, sir. Again, we are required by law to have at least one budget amendment for every fiscal year. So this is our budget amendment number 1 for FY22. Is there a clicker by any chance?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh, it's okay.
but there's nothing there.
Oh, there's not an attachment?
No.
Okay. A budget amendment is the mechanism used to revise the working budget to reflect changes that occur throughout the fiscal year. So throughout the course of this particular fiscal year, various factors necessitated the adjustment of revenues and expenditures within the budget system. Budget projections are reviewed monthly and amended in the late spring, early summer to reflect either increases or decreases in collections and appropriations. So the very first budget amendment that we use in our one-time budget amendment is bringing forward actual ending fund balances from the previous fiscal year. When preparing the original budget for FY22, I used the ending fund balance projected in our FY21 budget amendment, which was $105,967,482 as the beginning fund balance for October 1, 2021. The ending fund balance for September 30, 2021 was actually $119,358,496, a difference of $17 million. This difference is the delayed bathroom upgrades, the partial roof replacements at Simmons Middle School and South Shades Crest, as well as the theater upgrades planned for Hoover High School and Spain Park High School. Each of these projects was delayed due to the increasing cost of building materials and/or labor shortages. The second amendment to the original budget is the carryover of federal funds. There are some special revenue funds that, if not spent by year end, they may be carried forward to the next fiscal year. This is the second adjustment to the FY22 original budget. At September 30, 2021, funds remained in Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IX. for a total of $368,719. These funds are now available for use in FY '22. Keep in mind, though, that these funds still have specific guidelines and limitations such as teacher salaries and benefits for Title I schools, professional development for teachers that covers stipends and substitute pay, and instructional equipment for students. So what comes in must go out. There are no savings. We previously discussed the adjustments for fund balance and carryover funds. There are also state and federal allocations unknown during the preparation of the budget. Hoover City Schools will receive a little more than $4 million in additional appropriations in FY '22. So the state funds unknown during the preparation of the budget include the supplemental appropriation from the Education Trust Fund called Advancement and Technology Funds. The allowable use set in the Act include repairs and deferred maintenance of facilities for public education purposes, classroom instructional support, insuring facilities, fleet renewal, purchase of education technology, and equipment and capital outlay. These funds will not be received until September of this year. Therefore, the expenditures will be budgeted in FY '23. Federal allocations unknown during the preparation of the budget include funds from the Food and Nutrition Service to assist school districts experiencing supply chain disruptions. These funds are known as Supply Chain Assistance Funds, or SCA funds. Note there are no expenditures budgeted because those funds allocated were to offset existing expenditures of unprocessed or minimally processed domestic food products, which we refer to as commodities. I did not make adjustments for any other revenues because we have received 89% of our local tax revenues, and there is no indication we will not receive the remaining 6/12 of our state allocation. There are no anticipated changes to expenditures at this time. So in summary, with the amendments that we just spoke of from the original budget, our September 30, 2022 fund balance is now projected to be $116,019,382, which is an increase of $17 million. Our amended FY '22 budget shows a beginning fund balance September 30 of $118,953,391. Our general fund recurring revenues continue to exceed our general fund recurring expenditures, with the majority of the $5 million dip in reserve associated with capital projects. The projected months reserve at year end is 8.6 months. This is the combined budget for revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance to be submitted to the State Department of Education with your approval this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Board, at this time, I do recommend approval of the 2022 budget amendment as presented by Ms. McKay.
Do I have a motion to approve the 2022 budget amendment as recommended by the superintendent? Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? The 2022 budget amendment is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, Board. The next three items are operational items. Mr. Matt Wilson is here. Mr. Wilson, if you'll go to the podium in case someone does have a question. The first item for your consideration is an amendment to a contract for roof replacements and repairs at South Shadescrest and at Greystone Elementary School. We had a roofing contract and we had to pull these two schools off that contract list because of the cost at that time. We have identified money that will allow us to do that, and we would like to amend the contract for this roof replacement. Mr. Wilson, did I get that all correct?
That is accurate, yes.
Thank you, Board. At this time, I do recommend amendment to the contract for roof replacement and repairs at South Shadescrest and at Greystone Elementary School.
Do I have a motion to approve the amendment to the contract for roof replacements and repairs at South Shadescrest and Greystone Elementary School?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The contract amendment is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, Board. The next item for your consideration is modification to a construction contract with Standard Roofing to include PSCA funds. When this was first presented to the board, the architect, the engineering firm presented forms for your consideration and which you approved, but they did not include money from the state through the Public School and College Authority. And so this contract has to be amended and the paperwork has to reflect that this is funded through PSCA funds. Mr. Wilson, is that?
That is correct, yes.
Board, at this time, I do recommend modification to the construction contract with Standard Roofing to include PSCA funds.
Do I have a motion to approve the modification to the construction contract with Standard Roofing as recommended by Dr. Fowler?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? The modification to the construction contract with Standard Roofing is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tasi. Thank you, Board. The next item is a survey proposal for Bumpus Athletic Upgrade Project. As you know, we're looking at Bumpus Middle School and looking at the athletic fields there. And the board has approved that we enter into an agreement with an architect and start looking at making upgrades there. And the first part of that is to get a survey of that property. And I am recommending at this time that we enter into a contract for a survey proposal for Bumpus Athletic Upgrades.
Do I have a motion to approve the survey proposal for the Bumpus Athletic Upgrade Project as recommended by the superintendent?
So moved.
Second?
Second, I have a question.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Kelly does.
Thank you. Matt, why is there need for a survey?
It's a topographical mapping of the site as well, to understand the elevations of that area.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? The survey proposal is approved.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tasi. Thank you, Board. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. The last action item for your consideration is approval for the board meeting dates from July 22 to June 23. As you will note, all of the board meetings are the second Tuesday of each month, with the exception being October, which would be the third week of October. And the reason for that is because at that second week are state superintendent meetings, which information is given from the state superintendent and the State Department of Education. And I think it would be important to be there at that time. I do recommend the regular board meeting dates that are presented to you.
Do I have a motion to approve the board meeting dates for July 2022 through June 2023 as recommended by the superintendent? Second?
Second.
Any questions? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? The dates for the regular board meetings are approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosney, and thank you, Board. As we enter into the superintendent reporting and information reports, I'd like to call Mrs. McKay, our CSFO, back up to the podium. And there she will speak about our 2022-23 salary schedule, athletic supplements, extracurricular supplements, and our capital plan. There will be no action at this time, Board. This is only information for you. And I will let the public know that Mrs. McKay went over these in very strong detail during our work session. Ms. McKay.
I was just going to really reiterate in your packet for your review and consideration is the 22-23 salary schedule reflecting the 4% legislative raise for all employees, as well as the adjustments for classroom teachers years 10 through 35. The 2022-23 athletic and other extracurricular supplement schedules, and the FY23 capital plan with proposed projects through 2028. These items were shared with you at our work session this afternoon. Should you have additional questions between now and the next board meeting, I encourage you to please ask me. I'm available 24/7. And I do hope to have a recommendation for your approval of these items at the June 14th board meeting. Are there any questions regarding the work session and the documents before you? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Dr. Dotson, if you'll be making your way to the podium, while Dr. Dotson is making his way to the podium, I want to say a very special thank you to our administrators, principals, and central office staff for your attendance this evening. It is always refreshing for me and refreshing for the board to see our principals and see our staff at the board meetings. And your contributions are invaluable, and we want to know how much we appreciate that. During the personnel action portion of the board meeting, a very special position was presented to the board, and the board did approve that position. Dr. Dotson, I'll leave that to you now.
It is my honor to introduce the new principal of Simmons Middle School. And will be coming to us from previous experience in two other systems, Jefferson County and Tarrant City. He currently serves as principal of Tarrant Elementary School. May I introduce Mr. Walter Womack. And his wife is with him tonight. I told her that her yes was more important than his. So I'm very grateful for you saying yes.
First, let me introduce my wife, it's Kimberly. First, I'd like to thank the board and Dr. Fowler for entrusting me with this position as the new principal at Simmons Middle School. It's an awesome responsibility, and I don't take it lightly. I've been in education for 22 years, 17 years as an administrator, and one thing that I've learned is that you have to build relationships, and that's one thing that I plan on doing day one, is building relationships not only with students and faculty, but with parents. It takes everyone working together to make a school. And, that's one of the things that I plan on doing here at Simmons. And I'm very excited to be here. And I'm ready to get started as soon as possible. And, I've talked to Dr. Fowler a couple of times as far as the position, and we're ready to get started. I don't know how else to put it.
We're very excited for you to be here. Go ahead.
Yes,
I'm sorry, sir.
No problem. I'm not going to be long-winded, I promise you. But I did want to tell you that I know the importance of the position, and I plan on being here as long as you will allow me. Every stint that I've been at, I've grown in the position, and I've always heard that a rolling stone gathers no moss. So I like to grow where I'm playing. And so I do plan on being here and doing a great job for you and the community. And my door is always open. I have open door policy. So if anyone would like to talk to me at any point, anybody that knows me can tell you that what I'm telling you is the truth. I've seen a couple of faces in the audience that do know me, and they can vouch for what I'm telling you. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit down and let you get back.
Thank you. Just so Mr. Womack will know where you are, if you are a member of the Simmons faculty, you stay in place. Thank you, and thank you for being here. And it's been a delight to meet Mr. Womack. And one thing that we kept asking, can you commit to 3 to 5 years? We need some stability in the school, and he's more than willing to do that. I spoke to his current superintendent, who had the most wonderful things to say about him, even though she was disappointed that he was leaving. And I spoke to the superintendent in Tarrant before her, Dr. Mize, and she had nothing but kind things to say about Mr. Womack also. So we're very excited to close this chapter. And as Ms. Tosney said, we're so very, very sorry about the sad news for Simmons and Mr. Butler and the loss of his wife. I will let you know, faculty, that we'll be back here Thursday with Mr. Womack at a faculty meeting and present him to the entire faculty. We've already got a plan on how we will handle the absence of Mr. Butler, and we will explain that to you at that time also. With that said, Ms. Tosney, those are the only items that I have.
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Womack. We're excited. As prescribed by the Alabama Code, the board is required to select officers at their May meeting. So at this time, I will pass the gavel to Dr. Fowler and ask him to preside over the nomination and selection of the 2022-2023 Board President and Vice President.
Thank you, Ms. Tosney. At this time, Board, the floor is open for nominations for President for the Hoover City Board of Education, 2022-2023.
I would like to say just quickly before, as those of you who have been around a while know, we kind of do this it used to be kind of a revolving kind of board president. I don't really see the need to keep doing it that way. So I would like to nominate someone who I think has done an excellent job of leading us through a very difficult year. I'd like to ask to nominate Ms. Tosney to serve again as president.
Thank you, Ms. Madonna. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Kelly. Other nominations at this time? Hearing none, do I have a nomination to cease nominations? Do I have a recommendation to cease stop?
I move we cease nominations.
Maybe tell them what to say.
Yeah, I should have written that down.
You have a motion.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second to cease nominations?
I second it.
We have a second from Mr. Paquette. So with a nomination, a second, and no other nominations, and if I'm not following Robert rules, if you will correct me. So at this time, we are pleased to announce that Ms. Tosney will be the president for 22-23. Congratulations, Ms. Tosney. We don't have to vote if
You don't, if you'd like to, for the record.
Okay,
Thank you. That's very, very kind. Okay. So now the 2022-23 Vice President. It's time for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Amy Madonna to serve as Vice President for the upcoming year.
Second.
I'll second that, please.
All right. Any other nominees? Are we ceasing and assisting? I don't know what we're doing here either. Okay. I don't know. What do we
They can
do?
declare the nominations closed.
The nominations are closed.
You can consider Ms. Madonna appointed to the position, or you may vote for the record.
Ms. Madonna, we are so happy to have you as the Vice President of this board. Thank you so much. All right. Wonderful. Okay, upcoming meeting, our next regular scheduled board meeting is June 14th at 5:30 p.m. and it's now time for public comment. If anyone has public comment, you may come forward. As you're coming, anybody? Oh, great, come on up. As you're coming, I'll just say, provide us with your name and your topic. If you represent an organization, what that name is, and reminded that good name and character cannot be addressed in public comment or individual student discipline, and limit your time to 3 minutes or less. Thank you.
My name is David Inglis, and I'm president of the Hoover Track Finish Line Booster Club. And my daughter is graduating next week, and so this is the first board meeting I've ever been to, so probably my last. But
Oh, they're so fun.
I hate to say it's John, my only child. But the Hoover Track team had a great weekend. They won the state championship for boys and girls. But an issue came up, which I think is a safety issue for me. Apparently, the coaches cannot use a third party or broker to charter buses. What's happening is we're having a hard time finding buses. Usually have to do 3 or 4 months out. And the last bus we got to the state meet looked like a mom and pop operation. The bus looked like a regular charter bus, but that engine was breaking down. Broke down 3 times down there at Gold Shores. And it broke down on the way to Hoover High School to pick up the kids. So I just see a situation where that may need to be readdressed, because you don't want to have a bunch of kids broken down on the side of the interstate. And there's some very good charter buses out there, but they all seem to be using these brokers. And I'd like to see my kid on, a decent bus. And we have some
national contenders on this track team. We have a 10th grade pole vault kid who, for his age group, is number 1 in the country. We have a 4x400 relay girls team, which are in the top 10 in the country. So if a meet opens up in Texas, I want them to be on a good bus to get there and compete and win. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, sir. And I, just a point of pride, would the mother of that 10th grader please stand?
Dr. Carrie Pate in the house. Yes. That's great. Of course she does. We heard that loud. All right, if there is no one else, we are adjourned.